For the sake of the lower thirds, what is your name and what do you do?
My name is Zoe Quinn, and I'm not terribly sure how to classify what I do at this point. Sort of a game weirdo, I guess.
What are you doing at GDC this year? I mean, in previous years you've been pretty active on talks, and I'm sure there's lots of business stuff that happens in the background, but what is GDC for you this year?
This is like the chillest GDC I've ever had. It's the first year I'm not doing a talk, much less like
Cool.
3 like some years, because I'm a crazy person.
So I guess when you're not making games, sometimes you're playing them, and I think if there was ever a sort of a contemporary expert in the world of FMV games, you're definitely right up there. It's this weird sort of like area of games that existed, had a beautiful couple of years there, and then sort of, right, interesting, notable couple of years. And then sort of disappeared again. Obviously, you're part of the force bringing it back. But I kind of want to talk about some of your favorite FMV games. What are the ones that sort of stand out right away?
Well, it's weird, right? Like I grew up with 3DO instead of like a normal console, like a normal person. And I also got it in like 1999 or something.
Right.
Way late after it had already died.
How did that happen?
My dad got it for I believe like some trade, or got it off of a family friend who it came in a greasy box with like some jewel cases and some CDs just out. So everything worked, everything was super cool, so I just started playing random stuff.
All right.
And one of the first games I played was Night Trap, and I think that's to blame for why I'm a weirdo. Right. At least a little bit.
I get a weird, whenever I see Night Trap now, it's kind of basically Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah, it's like if Five Nights at Freddy's didn't understand game design. The thing that's so weird about Night Trap is like you're ostensibly supposed to be on these, you're like a security guard watching these cameras, trying to protect these girls in this house from weird vampire guys. But like the thing is, in order to actually do your job, you have to not look at the interesting stuff that's happening.
Right.
So it's like the game incentivizes you to ignore it, and basically, and it's like I can't tell if it's brilliant or if it's like really dumb.
Right.
I'm leaning towards really dumb, but I mean, if the goal was to simulate a joyless security job, then I guess they nailed it. But also, there's vampires and you can trap them, and there's like spring-loaded fucking pits, and it's a game.
What other games were in that box?
Well, there's an FMV game that I still think kind of holds up and was actually well written, starring Tia Carrera, called The Daedalus Encounter, and it sort of came out late in the FMV life cycle. And it's cool. Like going back and playing as an adult, it's like interesting because it's also like a genderless protagonist too.
Right.
You're just this brain in a box basically, and so all of the conceits around why it's an FMV game and why it's sort of framed the way makes sense. And it breaks up the FMV gameplay with like all these very different little puzzles and stuff like that. And the plot's actually kind of interesting because it's like about these two. You are the third, but these members of this like space soldier squad trying to deal with not really being useful as soldiers anymore. And it's like interesting because there's clearly multiple dysfunctional relationships going on here. Right. I actually really like it, just not unironically at all. I mean, I don't really like any of this stuff ironically. I think there's a lot of genuine love to be had in them, but The Daedalus Encounter is like a pretty solid game.
It's got that like 90s sci-fi thing where it looks like, you know, like Andromeda,
yeah,
that old TV show.
Yeah, it's very much like that.
She must have been quite young when that came out then.
She was like pretty high up in her prime, but I mean there's been all kinds of like big deal actors in FMV games. Like you've got Wing Commander, which had like I always forget his name. He's the bad guy in like every movie from the 90s. Malcolm McDowell.
Right.
And Mark Hamill's in it, and you've got Ripper, which stars Christopher Walken, and who's chewing the hell out of the scenery because he's like this bad detective guy, and he's like, it's weird how many like big deal people were in FMV games. One of I forget whether it's Corey Feldman or Corey Haim was the star of Double Switch, was another FMV game around that era. I'm collecting 3DO games now as an adult, and I'm noticing how many things I thought were really super cool that the game let me discover on my own that was actually just in the manual and the boxes I didn't own.
Right.
So it's like I've been going on for my whole life about how magical Star Control 2 is, and I stand by that. But one of the things that really blew my mind was like it just plops you down with like very little exposition or any idea of what to do. So I buy Star Control 2 as an adult, and all of the stuff that I filled notebooks with figuring out meticulously is in the fucking manual, and I'm like, all right, but I'm still glad it happened that way, you know? Yeah. Like it taught me a lot about just how rewarding specific kinds of exploration can be in a game. It's so funny how much of game design shifted towards like not making people read a manual before getting into it. If I was to try to tell you the plot of it, I would have to contradict myself like 3 times because I don't think Rihanna Rouge knows what it's about.
Okay.
Because it's like starts out and you're like trying to save your female friend who's, I think they're both office workers at the start, from like your like kind of molesty boss. But then like you go to like a space station and need to escape, and like you travel through other dimensions, and there's like sexy angels at one point, and like a mini game involving cake, and like there's a lot of really great on par with The Room level acting in
Right.
it. Like it's something else in that regard.
So it seems like the world of FMV has like a broad spectrum of quality. You
Oh,
sort of have ones that are genuinely kind of enjoyable, and then ones that are enjoyable for maybe all the wrong reasons.
The so bad it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, you've got stuff that dovetails nicely with that, like the Mad Dog McCree games
Right.
with like the little light gun, because like campy cowboy acting is exactly what that game needs, where the people grab their chest and die like, oh, and then fall over. Like that's great. That's perfect. Don't change Mad Dog McCree. I'll have so many game designer friends who'll be like, oh, you've never played this classic Nintendo game? It's like, yeah, because my family was poor and we couldn't afford it, that console. However, what, you've never played Night Trap? You've never played my retro nostalgia thing?
Yeah.
And then dragging them over and seeing like grown-ass friends who really understand games, who make games that I admire and love.
Right.
Getting to show them this shit for the first time, I really enjoy that.
It's funny how whenever we talk to developers, you can sort of tell the consoles they grew up playing based on the work that they made. I feel like I have much greater context for the games that you have made, knowing that you grew up playing a 3DO.
Right? It's weird. It's totally true. It's like kind of coming from a little non-geographic place in games. It's like Wing Commander's usually the thing I can pull people on. Or
Right.
Gex. Gex was
Oh,
like,
right.
because I didn't grow up with like playing a bunch of Mario games on NES or SNES. It was like my platformer was Gex.
As players, we get to, the game story starts for us when the game is out, right? And then obviously for developers, you've been there the whole time, and then there's sort of this like second chapter. Like I can imagine that sort of when Depression Quest was out and people were playing it, you had this whole other part of the conversation that was going on. Are you looking forward to that part of it? Like once the game is out and people start to talk about it, are you looking forward to that?
Kind of.
Right.
So I'm doing 2 things that people get really mad about, which is
Right.
like anything adult-oriented and also anything comedy-oriented. And especially in games, like games have not historically had a great track record with dealing with those 2 things in particular. So, and I mean, obviously there's plenty of exceptions to that rule, but just as a whole, it's not one of the most developed things. So I am looking forward to it. I tend to make games with very specific audiences in mind that would, it's the difference between trying to make something for everybody and trying to make something for a couple people who go like, oh my god, this is my shit exactly, like nails down the table, like excited. Like I want to make games for those people.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that the reception is good. I'm hoping that, like, I'm sure there'll be some discourse, just because there always is. And I'm unfortunately a politicized figure, regardless of whether I want to be or not. But, you know, I'm really doing my due diligence and trying to run it through a million different lenses to make sure that we aren't saying anything shitty to or about anybody. Like, that's super important to me. But, you know, even though, like, I'm trying to do everything I can to make the art itself not be something that feels shitty to someone else. It's like, it's not for everybody, and I know that, and I don't want to make stuff that is for everybody. I'm not just somebody that bad shit happened to. I am a weirdo that likes making weird things for other weirdos, and that's, like, there was a GDC comment, like, when you do talks, people can leave anonymous feedback in comments if they were in the audience, and there's one that just made me fucking cry my eyes out because I was doing my comedy and games talk, which is still one of my favorite things I've ever made. And somebody left this anonymous content that just said, this is what you deserve to be remembered for. And
Right.
like,
Yeah.
oh, thank God you people exist. Because it's like, yeah, it sucks having the things that happen to you overshadow the things you are and the things you do. So it's like, just, it's really nice to be getting back to that.
And it's really nice to have you in here to talk about fucking FMV games.
Yeah, anytime, anybody, anywhere, I will yell about, at the very least, Atlas Encounter until somebody stops me.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time.
No problem.
Get out there and enjoy some GDC.
Yeah.